another Tuesday afternoon, and that means it's time for Tech20 Tuesday on the 12th of February. Kind of a nice day, actually, outside today. Tech20 Tuesday this week, we're going to have a look at Twitter. Now, Twitter's been around for a while, so a lot of you have heard about it, but hopefully today we're going to have a quick peek at it about how you can use it both for professional learning, because I think Twitter I describe Twitter as my classroom where I, as a learner, learn. And there's lots of great ways for teachers can get professional learning through Twitter, but also how you can use it in your classroom to have conversations and to move forward in that way. So we're going to have a quick look at Twitter today. Now, it won't be an exhaustive look, but if you have other questions as you go along, you can certainly go ahead and ask those from your technology mentor. My doorbell is ringing. So let's move ahead here, and we're going to have a quick look at Twitter. And I'm going to pull up the Twitter feed. So this is what Twitter looks like. Twitter is a free account. Some people call it microblogging. Now, microblogging, basically what you can do is you can send out quick little messages and updates in 140 characters or less. So 140 characters is the maximum. So you really learn to be very efficient in how things go. So let's take a quick look at Twitter. Basically, this is the home page. So this is my Twitter page. It's web-based, although you have apps on phones as well. So you can actually do apps on your phone as well, so that you'll be able to connect, just like you do with Facebook. So basically, this is my front page, and you'll see over here, it tells me I've got 20 new tweets to look at. So if I click on that, it will refresh those pages. And what you see here is a list of all of the tweets coming through of the people that I follow. So as I go up here, I'm just going to scroll down, and we'll talk about who some of these people are. This is Larry Anderson. I'm not quite sure where Larry's at, but he's a teacher, and obviously he's an Apple teacher because he's got a little apple after his name. Sarah Beliveau is a teacher here in New Brunswick. Michelle Malkin, believe it or not, is a conservative Republican strategist, and I'm not sure how she got on my Twitter list, but we'll go from there. And so you see that these are all tweets. They call them tweets. So you can follow individuals, like here's George Kuros. George is a principal in Alberta, and I follow George because he's got some real great insight into some of the wonderful things that are happening in educational leadership these days. You can also follow organizations. Like here I follow Huffington Post, which is an online newsletter. MSC Cruises, I'm a cruise addict. 18 days from today we'll be back on a boat for March break. So you can go along here and you can see the people that I follow. Now, everybody's Twitter feed is going to look a little different because you get out of Twitter by creating a network of people that you follow. So much like you friend people on Facebook, you follow people on Twitter. Now, you don't have to ask generally for people's permission to follow them on Twitter. Most Twitter feeds, the whole idea is to keep them open and public so people can come in here and follow you if they feel that you have something to offer to their knowledge base. So these are all a bunch of different things. You can see here you can actually post Twitters as well. So this one here is Tom Whitford. Tom's posting 6th grade students working on compare contrast in their mini iPads. So how this really works for me in terms of professional learning is that I can jump in here at any time of the day or night, and I'll just get a series of posts that individuals who are in my network have posted. So these are mostly teachers. And so I can get stuff. Now, it's not always about teaching and learning. Some of it's just funny, and some of it's personal conversations that are going on. You get to know really quick. You get to develop a skill to be able to sort of go through the chaff really quickly and find out the pieces that are interesting to me. Now, this one might be interesting because it says how New Jersey has tried to bridge the gap between policy and practice on teacher evaluations. So in the States right now, there's this huge debate on evaluating or assessment of teachers themselves and their practice. And so this would give me a link which would probably take me to a newspaper article. So if I wanted to, this would point me to that, and I could just click on that, and it would take me off to that article. So if that was something that I was interested in learning or reading about at the time, I can do that. Now, a lot of the stuff, there's not a lot of educational stuff seems to be sitting out here right now, but sometimes in the evenings there's great conversations and great debates that are going on. So I follow about 1,000 teachers from all over the world, and I'm just scrolling back up here now. About 1,000 teachers from all over the world, and basically what we're doing is we're sharing ideas, we're sharing projects that we can work on, sharing new tools, new web-based tools or other tools, assessment techniques, and basically everything that's going on, and lots of conversation and professional learning taking place in this thing. Now, what I like about it in particular is that it doesn't demand that I be here all day, every day. Twitter is very forgiving in that way, in that I could be away from Twitter for 3 or 4 or 5 days, come back and not feel like I've really missed anything, because I can jump back into it wherever it happens to be, just like this, and I can start reading some stuff, and I can start picking up in conversations and doing other things. So the question that people always ask me, and I'm going to come back to the Twitter specifics here in a second, but the question people always ask me, and I'm just going to open up the new tweets that have just come in, is how do you develop? Who do you decide how to follow? Well, one of the things that I do is I'm always looking for conversations. So what I would do is I would say, okay, here's George Couros, and maybe I see George having a conversation with Zoe Brannigan-Pipe. Now, Zoe is an educational leader in Ontario, and I happen to know her. But if I see an interesting conversation going on, or somebody has reposted something, and that may be something that I want to look at, I can check out who, and if I didn't know who ZB Pipe was, I could click on this, and it would open up, and it would tell me that this is Zoe Brannigan-Pipe, and she is from Ontario, as I said. She's an educational leader. But it's telling me that I'm already following her. Right here, you can see that I'm following her. If I wanted to unfollow her, for instance, if she started posting stuff that I wasn't particularly interested in, I could come here and click on the unfollow, and it would unfollow her. But if I wanted to follow her, it would just have a follow link there if I wasn't following her, and I could just click on it. And all of a sudden, everything and anything that Zoe actually posts comes into my network and comes into my feed. So you build the network, and the quality of your learning experience as an individual within Twitter is based on how efficient you've built your network. So it takes a while. I often said that when I first started with Twitter, the first month probably, I was completely lost. I didn't see much value in it, but then it sort of hit that critical mass of people that I was following and people that added to the conversation for me, that it started to really become the place where I was getting a lot of my professional learning, which as you see here in the afternoon, tends to not be a lot, because most of the teachers are teaching, especially as you go west, they're still in school. But in the evenings, there's a lot of rich content on here, a lot of good links and good ideas for teachers. So I'm going to refresh this. So you can also, you'll notice here that your name, if you see people here talking, for instance, here's Deepak Chopra talking to @Sages Scientists. I have no idea who Sages Scientists are, but this is their username. So if you see something with @Sages Scientists after the name, he's actually either, here it's a retweet, because you see that there's an RT in front of that. So he's actually retweeting what Sage Scientists have tweeted or sent out. So he's just retweeting or resending out to his network to what they've said. But if he wanted to talk to that person, he would just use it. So if I wanted to, for instance, send a tweet to Zaltech, who is Al Steves in St. John Quispam Sis, I would just simply put in @Zaltech, which confirms his name. This is a test. But I could put in here or say, have you seen this? And so that allows me to have a conversation. Now that conversation is public, because other people who are following me or following Zal will be able to see that. And I just click tweet, and off it goes onto his Twitter feed and onto my Twitter feed, because we're engaged in this conversation. I'm not going to send that, because that would just be silly. But the other thing that I can do is that I can see all of the places. So across the top here, I've got the home. Um, so if I click on @connect, what it's going to do is it's going to show me all of the best, or all of the conversations and all the tweets that included my name in them. So these are the people who have tweeted back from me. So I've got Marianne Lewell has tweeted from me, and she's at St. John High School. And Mario from Halifax tweeted to me lately. Zal, Dennis Greif from Southern California. And he says, Twitter is my gateway to opportunities, web tools, connections, and what blog posts to read. So just before we got on here, I actually sent a tweet out to everybody and said, I'm using Tech20Tuesday, and so can you tweet back and tell me where you're from and what Twitter means to you. The other thing you can do is you can follow things, or you can search things by these. And you'll notice here, this one right here, this is called a hashtag, because right in front of this term, you're seeing the little hashtag in front of it, and I use T20T, so that's a hashtag for Tech20Tuesday. So if you're in a classroom and you want to have a conversation with your students, and what that does, it allows you, if everybody's using the same hashtag, it allows you to search. So for instance, if this was a classroom and we were having this conversation, I could simply click on Twitter or on this Discover tab right here, and I would come over here and search for T20T. So you notice up here, I've put this in the search parameter. So I'm going to search for all hashtags or all tweets that have the hashtag T20T in it, which is Tech20Tuesday, and it's going to pull up all of the conversations that include this hashtag, because you notice that's the hashtag that I set up for Tech20Tuesday today, and asked people to respond. So it pulled in all of those kinds of things. Now here's Ian Fogarty, who's at the C21 Summit 13, listening to economists. Twitter is a way to think and converse with people in and out of the room, very important. So he's used this hashtag because I asked him to. And it shows now up in this feed. So if you had a classroom hashtag, you could easily, and your students could easily follow along in a conversation simply by using a hashtag like Whipple's English or St. John High School 12 English or whatever hashtag you want. Now you want to keep the hashtag short because it does cut into your 140 characters. So you see here that Mario, for instance, has said, hi, at Jeff Whipple, which is my handle on Twitter. Mario here from Halifax. I like picking up what others are posting on their blogs, easier than going blog to blog for info. And then he used this hashtag, which allowed it to show up in this Twitter hashtag search that I did. So you could do this. Now you can send private messages, because if I click on the .me here, or on the me icon, what it's going to allow me to do is underneath the private message ones, or what they call DM or direct messages, I can come into my direct message center and I can actually, you can see who I'm direct messaging, you can also, this is where I would get new messages from people directly. So this is a private section. Nobody else sees these except for me and the sender. And or I can send one. So here I'm actually talking to Brian Harrison. And so if I wanted to send a message back to Brian, I could just click on that and type in a message and send it back. So those are behind the scenes conversations that you have. So Twitter's pretty simple in terms of setting up your account, and it allows you to basically have these conversations and follow along. So how could you use this, again, as a learner? When you come in here and you see Janine Saint-Amand just connected here, just down the road in Hanwell, but connected to the world via Twitter. Connections are what Twitter does best. So that's Janine just twittering here. So basically what you can do is you set up your network and connect with teachers and build a network and build it slowly. Be judicious about who you add to your network and how you're going to include them, because at first you'll find that if you don't do that, you'll get a lot of chatter. And it doesn't bother me so much. I don't mind the chatter. I can just look past it, but some people can't get past the chatter to find those nuggets. So you really have to build that skill to be able to go past all of the little things that are taking place around you and look for the conversations that are rich and look for those links that have rich content attached to them. And for your classroom, I would encourage you, especially if you're in a high school class, you could be sending out tweets. It's just another way to reach students. The neat thing about them is that many of the mobile devices, phones, and tablets, have Twitter apps so that you can actually follow along and connect with people mobile. Doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, and being inside of those conversations. So the mobile apps are pretty important. You can also use that, and it adds to that, much like you would with Facebook, to keep that connection with your kids. And if you're looking for people, over here it actually will suggest who to follow based on some of the people that you're following before. You can also find friends. So if you click here, well, this, just before we get there, I'll show you. This tells you who the trend is. So these are trending hashtags in the last day, or right currently here in Canada. So I can change that. But if I'm looking for friends, if I go find friends, it's going to allow me to follow them. But I can also search for people via Fredericton or New Brunswick or other things. I can put in search parameters, or it will suggest people that I might want to follow based on the people who I'm currently following. So it goes through their networks and says, okay, 3 of my followers are also following Mark Wagner. Well, this is somebody that we would suggest that you follow as well. Now what I would do is I would simply click on their name and it would pull them up. And then based on that, and I can look at their blog, and I can go here and look at the rest of their profile, and that would show me all of their former feeds. I'm just opening it up here. So this is Jamie Rayburn Weir. I don't know Jamie at all. I've never seen her Twitter feed before. I could go down here really quickly and see if there's anything in here that I think is going to add to my the conversations that I want to learn, or add to my learning through the conversations. And if I see something, so for instance, let's say I wanted to follow Jamie, all I would do is click on follow, and right now I'm following her. So everything that's coming up in her Twitter, she posts on Twitter, comes into my Twitter feed. So it's really that easy to build a network and follow along. So that's a really quick 10-minute look, 15-minute look at Twitter. It's really, the neat thing about it is you can come in and out of Twitter pretty easily and not feel like you've lost anything. It's always fresh. It's giving you new stuff. You can also follow current affairs. If you're a current affairs teacher, you can put in, for instance, if I'm looking for stuff on Egypt when it was happening, or current thing, if I followed that Egypt thing, what it would do is it would pull up new content based on that search term, hashtag Egypt. And you can actually see a lot of people from Egypt posting as well. And this would be a great high school social studies or world issues tool to be able to actually look at those kinds of tools as well, or even in your elementary classroom. So I think there's a lot of really great tools here for student research as well. So that is Twitter on Tech20Tuesday today. So if you have any questions, I would encourage you to go ahead and contact one of your local technology mentors. So you, depending on what district and what education center you're in, you can go ahead and contact them, and they would be more than happy to help you out. Twitter, like I said, really is my classroom. All of the people on Twitter that are in my network are like my classmates. I have very rich conversations on here. It takes a while. Give it a month or two before you start to dismiss it, because it really does take a while for you to sort of wrap your brain around it and see how it can be used both for your personal learning and for your students' learning. That is Twitter for today, and Tech20Tuesday for another Tuesday. We will see you all again next week. I think next week is QR codes, when Waylon Dixon will be our special guest to look at QR codes on Tech20Tuesday. Have a great Tuesday, everybody, and we will see you all next week.